let me tell you, when the pacing of these episodes are only leading to the events of the following episode, aside from good things coming here and now, it really shows that this episode, along with Beta, were the least I would talk about. And believe me, if I was originally going to review multiple episodes in one day, mainly in one video instead of reviewing one of them separately, I would combine this episode and the following episode that I'm gonna review tomorrow in one video. Trust me, the decisions that I made for this marathon is honestly all over the place, especially before I had the plans on doing this marathon. Back to the Moon centers around the events after the last episode where Steven, Amethyst, and Peridot returned to the barn to witness rubies being bubbled thanks to Lapis's powers. The rubies have no idea on what to do due to them not having to file a report to Yellow Diamond, all the while not having a lead to like Jasper to guide them. So Amethyst fused into Jasper, which leads to them going back to the moon. However, due to Garnet destroying the central computer last season, the rubies won't be able to file a report to Yellow Diamond. To tell you the truth, guys, with so much going on in this episode, and the fact that Jasper mentioned Pink Diamond in the last episode, just because I'm not like every single person who pay attention to these shows, doesn't mean that I'm going to ignore what happens during my second binge watch. Believe me, it really feels like that the more I witness these elements, the more that the episodes get better in my perspective. It's difficult to see this show as a main narrative, with it being episodic when it comes to the Beach City episodes, but believe me, I really felt like that the more I watch these moments after such a long time, it really feels like that they were way more focused in how it's trying so hard to showcase the reveal that we're going to be getting in Season 5. Even though that I'll admit that this episode is mainly a Rubies episode, where it centers around the Rubies taking charge and Amethyst is being like Jasper in order to protect poor Steven and Garnet. But considering that later on, one of the Rubies are gonna be separated, which leads to a Ruby episode from Season 4, along with a Ruby and Aquamarine episode in future being fused into Bluebird, I really feel like that the intent of these characters, mainly the One-Eye Ruby, is to have them have more of a purpose, even though that they don't contribute to much by only appearing once or twice, and mainly not doing much when it comes to the main plot of the show. The thing is, guys, even though that this episode is entertaining and it does contribute to much when it comes to the plot, similar to Beta, there's really nothing else I can say about this episode, and if I did combine this along with the following episode that I'm gonna be reviewing tomorrow, I'm pretty sure that it would have expressed everything of what I felt when it comes to the characters and the situation that they're in. Even though that this episode is slightly better when it comes to the information it's given to us in comparison to Beta, at the very least, I felt like that this episode alone would have done much more better if it was just a 22-minute episode by combining the following episode. Because to tell you the truth, it just feels really awkward to see this episode as an 11-minute episode. The climax, well, the Crystal Gems got rid of the rubies with their Psionics fusion of Pearl and Garnet. One of the rubies, mainly Eyeball Ruby, grabbed Steven while he was opening the door to the outdoor moon, which leads to the events of the following episode. To be real, the reveal of Pink Diamond's name from the last episode, and with her being more revealed from the dialogue of the rubies, while Steven stated that Rose were never shadowed a diamond or a gem, which leads to Paul being really concerned, it's really building up to the events of Season 4 and 5. For me personally, it really shows that they're really trying to make this a lot more interesting than it has been when it comes to the people who watch this show for the first time. Granted, I don't blame people for having a different perspective, but still, these episodes have gotten a lot more interesting the more I revisited them. And believe me when I say this, is that when I'm into this show more, even after it came to an end 4 years ago when it comes to Future, it's really saying something that people have been revisiting this show to see more and more about it. Unless if the people who are watching this show that made this show trending again were new people who haven't watched the show before. Trust me when I say this, whenever I think about people revisiting this show or moving on to something else with new people coming in, it really feels like that this show can appeal to nearly almost everyone by time, which it did for me after it came to an end. We're gonna be heading into the finale of Season 3 tomorrow, and by the looks of it, it really feels like that the finale of this season is supposed to be really in stakes, but at the same time, not as big as the last finales centering around the green hand and the yellow diamond reveal. I'm giving this episode a 7.5 out of 10.